Good evening. This is All India Radio and I'm Tanvi Taneja with the news at 9. The headlines. An Indian Airforce plane with 13 people on board missing after taking off from Jorhat airbase in Assam. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh holds review meeting in Srinagar on security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, visits world's highest battlefield in Siachen. Government to introduce bill to ban instant Triple Talaq again in Parliament, says Law Minister Ravi, Shankar, Prasad. Sensex crosses historic high of 40,000 mark in closing trade. And an ICC Cricket World Cup match between Pakistan and hosts England underway in Nottingham. An AN-32 aircraft of the Indian Air Force IAF with 13 people on board lost contact with ground agencies after taking off from Jorhat airbase in Assam today. The last contact with the aircraft was at around 1 p.m. The IAF has deployed Sukhoi 30 combat fighter jets and C-130 special operations aircraft on a search mission for locating the missing plane. Sources in the Defence Ministry said 8 crew and 5 passengers were on board the aircraft. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh spoke to Vice Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Rakesh Singh Bhadoria, regarding the missing plane. Mr. Singh said in a tweet that Air Marshal apprised him of the steps taken by the IAF to find the missing aircraft. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today reviewed the overall security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The review meeting was held at Army's 15th Corps headquarters at Badami Bagh in Srinagar. Mr. Singh was given a detailed briefing about the latest situation in the border areas and in the hinterland. Chief of Northern Army Command, Lieutenant General Ranbir Singh, and General Officer Commanding 15th Corps, Lieutenant General K.S. Dhillon, also briefed the Defence Minister about the successful counter-terrorism operations in the Kashmir Valley and the perfect synergy between various security agencies. This was the first visit of Mr. Singh to the valley after assuming charge as the Defence Minister. Mr. Singh reached Srinagar after completing his maiden visit to the Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battleground. There he reviewed the security situation along the border with Pakistan. He was accompanied by Army Chief General Bipin Rawat. Mr. Singh interacted with the Army personnel serving in the region. In a series of tweets, the Defence Minister said the country's soldiers in Siachen are performing their duty with great courage and fortitude, even in extreme conditions and treacherous terrain. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has been given cabinet rank in the present government. This is in recognition of his contribution in the national security domain. He will continue as National Security Advisor for the next 5 years. Last year, the government had set up a panel headed by Mr. Doval to assist the National Security Council, which advises the Prime Minister on matters of national security and strategic interests. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad took charge of the Ministry of Law and Justice in New Delhi today. Mr. Prasad also took charge of the Telecom Ministry. Talking to reporters after assuming these offices, the minister said the government will introduce the bill to ban the practice of instant Triple Talaq again in Parliament. He said the issue of Triple Talaq is part of the party's manifesto. With the dissolution of the 16th Lok Sabha last month, the bill on banning Triple Talaq lapsed as it could not be passed by Parliament because it was pending in Rajya Sabha. The Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill makes all declarations of instant Triple Talaq illegal. It seeks to make the practice a punishable offence with the imprisonment of 3 years. Talking about the priorities of his ministry, Mr. Prasad said, with the synergy of technology and legal procedure, legal access will be made more effective. The Telecom Minister said the government will hold 5G spectrum auction within the current calendar year and intends to start its trials in the next 100 days. Mr. Prasad said his ministry will soon launch field trials of 5G technology. He said 5G will be rolled out for public use after the field trials. The minister said the government wants to revive BSNL and MTNL as the presence of these public sector undertakings in this sector is important.
कश्मीर की बाढ़ हो या तमिलनाडु का साइक्लोन हो या अभी जो हाल में उड़ीसा में साइक्लोन आया, इसमें सबसे अधिक फ्री सेवाएं हमारे बीएसएनएल ही देते हैं। हम लोग का भी निर्देश होता है but they are available to work for the poor people in case of emergencies. इसलिए it is also in national interest that they remain healthy. तो उस दिशा में कार्रवाई चल रही है. मैं प्रेजेंटेशन भी लूंगा, देखूंगा और क्या कर सकते हैं. लेकिन एक बात मैं BSNL और MTNL को भी बताऊंगा, they also need to become professional.
Minister of State for Development of Northeastern Region, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today chaired a review meeting with the officials of the Ministry and Northeastern Council in New Delhi. Mr. Singh said the government will make all efforts for the implementation of the ongoing development projects in the Northeast. He said measures will be taken to introduce new projects for the benefit of people of the region. Union Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers, D.V. Sadanand Gowda, has assured that the number of generic medical stores across the country will be increased and the supply of medicines to them will be improved. Addressing media persons in Bengaluru today, the minister said the inventory of medicines in the Jan Aushadhi Kendras will also be increased. Mr. Gowda said the Prime Minister has asked all the ministries to send their 100 days plan for implementation, adding that the decision-making mechanism will be speeded up in his ministry. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will pay a two-day visit to Maldives and Sri Lanka from Saturday. This will be the first overseas visit of Prime Minister Modi after his re-election. The External Affairs Ministry in a release said the visit to Maldives is reflective of the new momentum in high-level exchanges between the two countries. It said the Prime Minister's forthcoming visit will provide an important occasion to review the recent developments in bilateral relations and exchange views on issues of mutual interest with the objective of further strengthening the special relationship between the two countries. On his way back home, Prime Minister Modi will visit Sri Lanka on Sunday. The ministry said the visits to the two countries demonstrate the priority India attaches to its neighbourhood first policy and the Sagar doctrine. The sixth round of India-China bilateral dialogue on disarmament and non-proliferation was held in New Delhi. The External Affairs Ministry said in a release that the two sides exchanged views on a variety of issues of mutual interest related to disarmament, non-proliferation and arms control. They decided to continue the dialogue at regular intervals in future. India today categorically rejected yet another unacceptable reference to India's internal matters at the conclusion of the 14th Islamic Summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC. The meeting was held at Makkah in Saudi Arabia on the 31st of last month. In response to media queries, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ravi said the OIC has no locus standi in matters relating to Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Kumar said Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India and reiterated that OIC should refrain from making such unwarranted references. In Sri Lanka, all Muslim ministers have decided to resign from their portfolios, demanding the government to ensure security of the Muslim community. Among those resigned are 4 cabinet, 4 state and 1 deputy minister. They will, however, remain part of the government MPs and sit in parliament as the backbenchers. The group called for an end to communal politics and urged to expedite investigations into Muslim leaders accused in the aftermath of the Easter Sunday terror attacks. Leader of Sri Lanka Muslim Congress and Minister Rauf Hakim said innocent Muslims are at the receiving end after the attacks. Our Colombo correspondent has filed this report.
The ministers maintained that Muslim community has been targeted unfairly after Easter attack and many innocents are in police custody. Earlier, 2 governors had resigned amidst protests in various parts of the country after a Buddhist monk staged a hunger strike to demand their resignation. Eastern Province Governor in his resignation letter said that there has been a calculated attempt to discredit the Muslim community and create fear psychosis. Thousands of people staged march in Kandy town to demand their resignations as similar protests were held in other parts of the country. Santosh Kumar for AIR News from Colombo.
Severe heat wave continues to sweep several parts of the country. In Madhya Pradesh, temperatures are varying from 44 degrees to 48 degrees Celsius in various cities. Our correspondent has filed this report.
There is no respite of scorching heat and heat wave across the state. The Met Department has declared a red warning for the first time in 10 districts and orange warning for around 20 districts of Madhya Pradesh. Nagaon remained the hottest place in the state. It recorded 48 degrees Celsius. Bhopal witnessed the hottest day of the season as the maximum temperature of 45.3 degrees Celsius was recorded in the state capital, while rains also recorded in some parts of the northeastern Madhya Pradesh. According to Met Department, the weather in the next 24 hours is likely to be hot and dry, with the hard winds expected to blow across the state. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Maharashtra, the Met Department has said severe heat wave is very likely to occur at isolated places over Nagpur and Wardha districts of Vidarbha in the next 2 days. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has called upon scientists and researchers to address the pressing issues of climate change, global warming and extreme weather change. The Vice President was interacting with scientists and young researchers of the National Atmospheric Research Laboratory near Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh today. He said that the world is experiencing global warming and its effects in the form of cyclonic storms, intense thunderstorms and droughts, adding that it affects agriculture and economy. The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its weekly bilingual live phone-in program Public Speak, will bring you a discussion tonight on air pollution, ways and means to curb it. This can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. The nation today remembered former Defence Minister George Fernandes on his birth anniversary. He was one of the most prominent leaders of the socialist movement in the 1970s. Mr. Fernandes breathed his last on the 29th of January this year. Born in a poor family at Mangaluru in Karnataka, he was elected to the Lok Sabha 9 times from 1967 to 2004. Mr. Fernandes was the defence minister in the Vajpayee government when Indian forces had won the Kargil War. He also served as the Union Minister for Railways and Industry. A seminar was held at the Constitution Club in New Delhi to pay tributes to George Fernandes for his contribution to Indian politics. Talking to reporters, Prasad Bharati Chairman A. Surya Prakash said Mr. Fernandes led a very simple life.
He was an extraordinary person in public life and a very important person in the growth and development of democracy in the country. Today, if we have our constitution back, if we have our democratic rights back, it is because of individuals like Mr. George Fernandes who fought for restoration of our constitution and democratic values. His commitment to the poor and to the underprivileged was something phenomenal.
And in business news, the Sensex today crossed the historic high of 40,000 mark in closing trade. We have a report.
At the stock markets, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange zoomed 553 points or 1.4% to close at an all-time high of 40,268. The Nifty shot up 166 points to a record high of 12,089. At the Forex market, the rupee appreciated 44 paise to 69.26 against the dollar. Gold rose 75 rupees to 33,195 rupees per 10 grams in Delhi. And Brent crude futures climbed 30 cents to trade at $62.29 a barrel. V. Ravi Kumar for AIR News.
In ICC Cricket World Cup, chasing a victory target of 349 runs, hosts England were 133 for 4 in 24 overs against Pakistan at Nottingham a short while ago. Jorhat scored a brilliant 50. Earlier put into bat, Pakistan made 348 runs, losing 8 wickets in the stipulated 50 overs. On Wednesday, India will begin their campaign against South Africa at Southampton, while Bangladesh will face New Zealand at London. In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic and Kei Nishikori reached the quarterfinals of French Open, the second Grand Slam of the season, at Paris today. In women's singles, American Madison Keys and Australian Ashley Barty have also reached the quarterfinals. And now, before we wrap up the bulletin, here are the headlines once again. An Indian Airforce plane with 13 people on board missing after taking off from Jorhat airbase in Assam. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh holds review meeting in Srinagar on security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, visits world's highest battlefield in Siachen. Government will introduce bill to ban instant Triple Talaq again in Parliament, says Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad. Sensex crosses historic high of 40,000 mark in closing trade. And in ICC Cricket World Cup, match between Pakistan and hosts England underway in Nottingham. And that is all in the news at 9. Good night.